Hi guys, welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about packing for the Galapagos. Now before we get started, make sure you hit subscribe below and like and comment at the end of the video. I have already made videos, one on my Galapagos vacation and the 10 shocking factors that I saw in Ecuador. So this video will go along with that, kind of in a series, but they're not really in order, but that's okay. So what I'm going to be talking about is things that you need to bring with you to the Galapagos, and this is my dog Junior. He will be joining us today. So as far as packing for the Galapagos, normally most people spend a couple days in Ecuador. We spent a couple days in Quito, and really you just pack normal for that. Just jeans, 3/4 short sleeve shirts. It's not super hot, but I talk about that in my culture shock video about the weather in Ecuador. Now, for the Galapagos, the first thing we've got is bathing suits. Just 3 normal, regular bathing suits. I brought 2 tankinis and 1 one-piece. One day I wore the one-piece snorkeling. The other days I wore the tankinis while we were just sitting on the top deck of the boat, because we did do a cruise in the Galapagos. Your packing list may differ a little bit depending on if you're doing a cruise or land-based tour, but it really shouldn't differ that much. A wetsuit. Now, most of the places that book tours also let you rent wetsuits from them. So our boat allowed us to rent wetsuits for like $10 or $15 a day, and same thing goes for the day tours. You can rent them for like $10 or $15 a day. I decided to buy one on eBay. It was $70, and that way I get to have it with me. It was either buy a wetsuit for $70 or spend $70 in rental fees. My husband did the same thing. He bought one for 50 bucks on Amazon. It's up to you. You do have to pack the wetsuit with you, and it does take up a lot of space. Luckily, we packed pretty light for our trip otherwise, so we were able to bring the wetsuits along with us. Rash guards. Now, I bought a couple of these on Amazon. This is a short sleeve rash guard. This is the brand O'Neill, and Amazon was having a pretty good sale on them. And so even if you don't wear these underneath your wetsuit, you can still wear them just for t-shirts, just on your excursions, your daily hikes and things like that. And that's what I did. In a lot of my photos, you will see me just wearing these as regular t-shirts, and I highly recommend these for t-shirts or dry fit type t-shirts. My husband and I do a lot of 5Ks, and so we had a lot of the polyester dry fit type of material t-shirts that we brought with us, because we did hand wash a lot of our clothes while we were there, and we were able to rewear them that way, and it also helps you pack lighter. If you pack cotton clothes, they're not going to dry fast enough for you to be able to rewear them, so I would definitely recommend investing in something like this. 2 things I bought that I did not need but I read about online were neoprene gloves and neoprene booties. Basically just to go with your wetsuit when you go snorkeling, or if you go scuba diving. We just did snorkeling. They say it's in case you like grab onto a jagged rock or something, or I guess kick one with your foot. That was just not a thing that happened to anybody in our tour group, so if you want to bring them you can, but I didn't really think they were necessary. What I do wish I had is beach shoes, like water shoes, like the kind that you wore when you were 3 years old on the beach. I wish I brought a pair of those with me, so if you are packing, grab a pair from your local discount store and bring those with you. As far as snorkeling gear, they provide it with any excursions or any tours that you're doing. I don't think they charge you rental fees for it. If they do, it's minimal. I chose not to bring my own, and I just used the free one that was provided. If it's a thing that you would like to bring, or you're a little bit OCD about reusing a snorkel mask, then you can bring or buy your own, but to me it wasn't a big deal. A couple non-water items that you need to bring are a hat. I brought this Columbia sports hat. It has a chin strap. My hair is going to be all messed up after this. I do recommend one with a chin strap because there might be a big gust of wind and it might kind of knock your hat back a little bit. I also like that this has a brim to protect my ears and the back of my neck from the sun, and this is UPF 30, so it has some built-in sun protection. Some people in my tour group got away with just wearing a regular baseball cap each day. If that's your thing, go for it, but I prefer this. Socks and underwear. Bring all of your underwear, literally. I always bring a lot of underwear when I'm packing, and I am so glad that I did. If you're taking day trips or if you're taking a cruise, you will be going on 1 or 2 snorkeling excursions per day probably, and you will want to wash off and get changed, and I put on a pair of clean underwear each time, so I was definitely happy that I literally brought like all of my underwear with me. Socks, kind of the same thing, but you might not need as many socks, but the socks that we did bring, we also brought the dry fit type material so that they were easy to hand wash and re-wear again. When I was mentioning bathing suits before, I didn't mention like a bathing suit cover. This is just a long sleeve breezy cover. I really recommend it just to walk around the town or stand on your boat. I just recommend it. As far as to go along with the underwear and the socks, I mostly wore sports bras just because there is a lot of activity. There's hiking and then you're changing in and out of your bathing suit, and so I really preferred to just wear sports bras on this type of vacation. As far as pants, I brought 2 pairs of kind of polyester quick dry fit material type shorts. These are Patagonia brand. Pro tip, I got these on eBay before the vacation. You don't need to buy everything brand new to go on vacation. You will be able to spend more money while you're on vacation if you search for discounts before you're there. So eBay, LL Bean, eBay. I also brought 2 or 3 pairs of dry fit capris, one that I got from Eastern Mountain Sports. It was a going out of business sale. And I brought 1 pair of dry fit pants that zip off, but I never wore those. Dresses. I recommend that you bring just like a light, gentle, breezy dress, especially if you want to sit down for dinner and you have your bathing suit on, something that you could slip on over. I just brought 2 dresses that were from Old Navy, just like $8 spaghetti strap dresses, and those worked perfectly for me. As far as shoes, some people on my trip wore Tevas. I bought these off eBay before I went on vacation, but I actually didn't wear these, mostly because I was afraid of stubbing my toes, and a lot of the hiking is on volcanic rock, right? Because that's how islands are made, they're volcanoes. If this is something that you would like to wear, you can, but I did not. A lot of people on my trip also wore Keens. Now, for me personally, I did not have them. I did not buy them in advance. What I did buy was this pair off Amazon. The brand is Northside, and I think they were like $30. They have a nice rubber sole. They're really well made, and so if you don't have Keens, you can get something like this. The last piece of footwear is a nice pair of hiking sneaker boot things. I did get these on sale at an Eastern Mountain Sports. My husband and I did invest in a good pair of hiking shoes just so that we have them for the future to use. Something with a nice thick sole, because you will be walking on literally volcanic rock for some of your excursions. And these were really nice to have. Jacket. The packing list that they give you says to bring a rain jacket. I personally did not wear one at all. I brought it, didn't wear it. I just wore my regular long sleeve jacket if I got cold, and then I used an umbrella if I needed to. And yes, I would recommend bringing an umbrella. Fun fact, the Galapagos does not have a weather station on the island. So if you're looking ahead to pack and you're looking online at the weather, it's probably wrong. I was getting all nervous because I was looking ahead at the weather and it basically said like 60 and cloudy every day, and I was sad that it was going to rain my whole vacation, and it did not rain even one day while I was there. Anything that you see online for a Galapagos forecast is really just their best educated guess, I suppose, even though it's not even like a good guess at all. A pair of sunglasses. Now these are Gooder sunglasses. They're like a runner's brand. They're nice and sturdy. They don't fall off if you look down into the ocean. If you are concerned about your glasses falling off when you look down into the ocean, you can get a little strap. I got one. I took it off because it drove me nuts, because I also had the strap for my hat and I just didn't like having 2 straps around my neck. Now we're getting into some kind of like random items, but definitely still things that you should think about packing. Stay with me because there's going to be a lot of good stuff here. So this is a pair of binoculars. I got them off Amazon for like 20 bucks. Not going to open it up because it's noisy. I don't think I really used them. If you're really into bird watching and looking for stuff, you can get them. But I was able to zoom in enough on my phone, so up to you. Camelback. They give you a reusable water bottle, and you should definitely use the reusable water bottle. But on some of the longer excursions or where I was extra thirsty, I was really glad that we had a Camelback backpack water with us. That way we could just take a sip out of there, and it holds a lot more than a regular water bottle does. Microfiber towel, I was really glad I had this when we did the day trip. They do provide you towels, but this just helps you dry off a lot better because you go in and out of the water and then you're drying yourself with a wet towel and it's kind of annoying. So this was something that was nice to have. Speaking of day trip, this is a wet bag, and basically you put all of the items in it that you don't want to get destroyed or wet or whatever, and then you fold it over and then you clip it. Now, I think we maybe used this once. It wasn't necessary, but I was kind of glad that we had it at least for like 1 or 2 days. This was also something random that I got off eBay. I would wear a backpack, especially if you're staying on the island for any amount of days, just while you're walking around. I mean, it's pretty safe while you're there, and just so that you can carry some things with you. Obviously, you're going to want to bring your camera, so bring that. Make sure you have like a waterproof type of container for it. I also did bring my GoPro and the underwater casing. This is a GoPro 5, so it's like a little bit older. And then I brought this hand stick to take videos with underwater. This was the only one that I needed. I had some other GoPro accessories, but I didn't use like the wrist strap or any of that. Phone charging bank, self-explanatory, make sure you bring one. Plug converter. Ecuador uses the same plugs as the United States, so I didn't need a converter for my electronics, but if you are not from the United States, you will need to bring a plug converter. I also brought a first aid kit. It was something basic that I'd ordered off of Amazon. It had gauze pads, it had band-aids, I put some Neosporin in it. I think it maybe had some first aid scissors. I would definitely bring one, especially because you're on an island. And if you go on a cruise vacation, if you go on a smaller boat like I did, we went on a catamaran and there were only 15 passengers plus staff and everything. But as far as medical equipment, they didn't really have any. If you're going on a bigger boat that has 100 or more passengers, I think they have like a doctor on board. But just for like a little bit of personal safety, I would recommend bringing a small first aid kit. Now I'm just going to dump out these bags and we're going to go through and see what other types of items I brought with me. One other thing to note, because I see some medicine in here, before you even go on the trip, you should see a travel doctor, because I had to get a typhoid vaccine and a hepatitis A because I didn't have my Hep A, and my husband had to get a tetanus shot because he wasn't up on that. And if you're going to the Amazon or anything like that, you might need to get, I don't know, yellow fever and some other ones. So just make sure that you have all the proper vaccines. Okay, so this is what's in those bags. This is a cell phone holder. I also got this off eBay. I did not personally trust putting this underwater. However, it was perfectly cool with me to put my cell phone in here and then take it around with me on kayak and dinghy rides. And that way I was able to kind of take photos through here and not worry about my phone dropping into the water. Sunscreen, obviously. You're going to need sunscreen, right? You're on the equator. Even if you don't feel hot, you should put some on. I brought some 30 and some 50. We reapplied it multiple times a day. Now the thing about sunscreen in the Galapagos is that they want you to use reef safe type of sunscreen. So that means there are some brands that are considered reef safe, which basically means that they're zinc based. And you should really respect that. I mean, they don't go through your bag and throw out stuff like I thought they were gonna do. But you should just respect it and not wear anything that's going to hurt the animals or the environment. So Bear Republic is one of those brands, so is Blue Lizard, so is Garden Goddess. Now talking about reef safe, this is Badger After Sun Balm. I was glad I had this because I got sunburned on my back one day when I went snorkeling and I forgot to put sunscreen on. This is also a reef safe brand. Wilderness Wash. This is biodegradable, aka reef safe, aka you should bring this with you. You can use this for multiple things. It's really a camping thing, but you can use it for body wash if you run out, which we did. And you can use this to hand wash your clothes in the shower. As far as shampoo and conditioner, this brand Stream to Sea is also reef safe. I was very cognizant of wearing only things on my body that would not disrupt the environment there. So this is leave-in conditioner. My hair is really thick and really snarly, and with this I was able to put it in before I went on a snorkeling trip, and I was able to safely brush my hair when I got out. So I would recommend this brand of leave-in conditioner. I also had this brand of shampoo. Some other random things. So I mentioned prescription. So this is like an anti-diarrheal prescription. You can also get an over-the-counter. This is an anti-diarrheal. It's called Geri Care, which I guess means for like geriatrics, but whatever. In case you get a stomach ache, Tums, Pepto-Bismol. I would bring these. I actually got a really bad stomach ache when I got back, so I was lucky it didn't happen till I got back, but be careful. As far as repellent, I only brought this basic type of repellent. This also reminds me you shouldn't wear bright colors like yellow because it attracts tsetse flies, which are on some of the islands, and I guess they bite. So stay away from bright colors when you're packing. Natural bug spray. Allergy relief, antibacterial, chapstick, floss. This is for a snorkeling mask, an anti-fogger. I didn't actually use it. You can also use dish soap, and they usually give it to you on the tours. You just put a drip in there, wipe it around, dip it in the ocean, and then it makes sure that your mask doesn't fog when you're snorkeling. Benadryl cream. This was my and my husband's first time on a boat or a cruise of any kind, so we were a little bit nervous about maybe getting seasick. Neither of us got seasick, but I went overboard on buying preventative products. So we've got non-drowsy Dramamine, we've got motion sickness patches, we've got ginger anti-nausea gum, and then we got this thing, which I guess you put a drip behind your ear and it's supposed to help you. I don't know, didn't try it. And the last thing is be very careful about the water that you drink. This is like a drip to purify the water, I guess. Obviously didn't use it, it's still in the packaging. They mostly are pretty good about giving you fresh water because you're not supposed to drink water when you're in other countries, and even the locals on the Galapagos drink bottled water, so it wasn't a big issue, but just be aware of the water that you're drinking. Last thing, any personal medications that you take, make sure you have enough with you. I was going on a 2-week trip, so I actually had to have my doctor refill like a little bit in advance so that I wouldn't run out while I was there. And especially if you're taking a cruise, you don't want to run out in the middle of the ocean where there's no cell reception at all. Alright, so I hope that was helpful. Again, please subscribe, please like, please comment. Let me know if you're going to the Galapagos. Let me know if you have any questions about what you should pack, or if you have any ideas of maybe things that I may have accidentally left out in my packing list. And until next time, thank you.